almost 200 followers in a day. I got like one of my videos to 100,000 plus views. I saw a kick in the sales. I saw my $300 sale on website became like a few $1,000s.
Whether or not you know this under-the-radar health guru by name, you've probably run into one of his products before. He's doing what all the e-commerce gurus wish they could, making an unfathomable amount of money selling products online. He is the #1 most sold product on TikTok Shop ever. In just 5 months, one of his many products on TikTok Shop did over $21 million in sales. And he talks about wasting millions on a marketing agency like it's just a simple learning lesson.
I'd lost $2 million advertising on social media platforms.
Puneet Nanda moved to the United States over 2 decades ago and has a true American dream story, starting his entrepreneurial journey by importing toothbrushes for dollar stores, supplying the toothbrushes for store brands, and inventing the Firefly toothbrush. He then bought and turned around the Reach toothbrush brand before finally going back to his family's holistic roots, reviving the Ayurvedic healing practices his family had lost in their move from Pakistan to India decades ago. He founded Guru Nanda, an oil pulling brand which has had the insane explosion of sales on TikTok Shop that brought him to my attention. But despite Puneet Nanda's extraordinary entrepreneurial story and monetary success, he's remained humble and has recently avoided the limelight, refusing any interviews over the past few years until now. Thank you to Mr. Nanda for agreeing to share his wisdom with young entrepreneurs like you and me. Drop a like if you want to see more interviews like this one, and let's jump into the conversation. Well, thanks so much for meeting with me. You've done some awesome stuff. My first question would be, what brought you into TikTok space, coming from kind of a traditional business space?
So 2021 was when I first heard there is some app called TikTok, because I think back in 2020, I heard that President Trump was going to kill TikTok unless they sell the company. And then I heard that Walmart bought a piece of it and Oracle bought a piece of it, or they transferred some of the data there. It's a cool name, TikTok. So I said, okay, mostly I associated it with Charlie D'Amelio. I read a couple of text messages. Then back in 2020 or 2021, what happened was Charlie got her nose job from a doctor called Dr. Raj Kanodia in Beverly Hills. Dr. Raj Kanodia, fortunately, is a friend of mine. I had given him 20 of my humidifiers because he is big on humidifiers. He thinks everybody should sleep with a humidifier next to their nose. I made those, so I gave him a few of those. He gave one to Charlie. A lot of people started calling me one day that they saw my humidifier behind Charlie. I tried connecting with Charlie, no response. So I said, okay. And I did not go and download TikTok myself till that time. It was all being handled by my marketing team. Then I was advertising on Facebook at that time mostly, or Instagram and Google. Around 2022, I got really sick and tired. A lot of expense. I'd lost $few million advertising on social media platforms, especially Facebook and Instagram, and they were not returning me anything. So for every $100 I would spend, I'll get $50 back in sales. So it was literally waste of time and energy. And I fired 14 people on my staff, my entire marketing department in one go in June of 2022. I said, okay, I'm not going to totally be done with it. I'll slowly repair it, like get 1 or 2 people, but I can't pick and choose because otherwise that would be a HR problem. In July of 2022 or end of July, I started seeing my phone ring like a church bell, literally ting, 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 ting. And I was like, what the hell is going on? To my amazement, that evening, one of my friends called and said, my daughter is telling me, she was 14, that your friend Guru Nanda uncle, product Guru Nanda pulling oil is viral on TikTok. I said, send me the link. So he sent me the link and it wanted me to download the TikTok. I downloaded the TikTok. I looked at that video. It had 1.4 million views and it had like 2,000-3,000 comments. It was a video that was done by some shabby looking woman. I would say underdressed in a sense, like let's put it a regular person, because at that time I was more used to looking at Instagram as models and pretty looking faces versus a regular person on TikTok saying that our oil pulling product changed her life and saved her gums and teeth. And then I saw 3,000 comments comments or 2,000 comments, 10 o'clock at night. I started answering them, and I was answering all the way till 6 in the morning. I slept for a couple of hours. My family was, what's going on? And next day I started answering them back again. I came to the office. I could actually, my hands were hurting. So I saw that you could actually press the button, camera comes. I started answering with the camera on, and that became a video, and that got posted automatically. Before I knew, I had like 10, 12 videos answering questions. And one of those videos kind of like gamer's luck. As if you go to a casino, you put $1 and you get 200 back. So I got almost 200 followers in a day, and I got like one of my videos to do 100,000 plus views. I said, oh my God, who's following this?
So I didn't realize that you had gone viral before you even started personally posting on TikTok. And then of course, TikTok Shop has been super helpful for you, I'm sure. Was it immediately obvious for you to make yourself the face of the brand? Or was that something that just kind of fell into place with you wanting to comment?
It happened. I had no clue. Actually, my marketing team used to always say, don't go on the TikTok. Oh, sorry, on social media. It would look really bad and it wouldn't look good. I think you need more actors, like people who know how to do it. And we were getting nowhere. And all of a sudden, when my video did that 170,000 that I told you, I saw a kick in the sales. I saw my $300 sale on website became like a few $1,000s. So when I saw that, I said, oh my God, because I used to spend a few $1,000s to get that sale. And now just with my video, I was able to do it. So I started doing that. I started looking at the video that went viral and started to do more of those. 2 years later, we still can't keep up with what we're doing. Today, officially, I was judged last month. I was judged as the #1 commercial influencer in America.
Wow.
It's not a 17-year-old good-looking guy or girl. It is this guy, POC.
I think that's what it is, though. People like authenticity, and obviously, you know what you're talking about. It's clear that you're not trying to sell something that you don't believe in, trying to trick people into anything. You're just kind of sharing the knowledge that you have.
A lot of people came and asked me at the trade show. They were asking me, what is your secret? I said, just be true, be you. That's it. That is your secret on TikTok. If you're just being you, and if you're just giving everything that you have, 100% of it, people like it. People will follow you not because of your face or because of your look. People will follow you because they like what you have to offer them.
And I guess going off of that authenticity a little bit, your family had a history in kind of ancient healing. Was that ever lost along the way? And how did your journey kind of lead you into finding a balance between Eastern and Western medicine?
When I came to America, I actually kind of became, how you get tainted by, you have to establish your mark. I was working 15, 18, 19 hours at times. I was eating fast food, drinking colas. I was not exercising. I was literally stressed out all the time. I literally came on pill, and one pill led to another, to another, to another. And I gained a lot of weight. I was 50 pounds more than what I am today. That literally almost got me killed in the sense there was a little wake up alarm one day. I ended up in a hospital just because it was nothing, but it was like I was having a chest pain. It fortunately was nothing more than that, like a nervous breakdown. But I realized at that time that one of the friends came to see me and said, life is a journey, not a destination. So you got to slow down. And that's the day when I decided to sell that business, the one that you talked about, and actually focus on myself. So I took a year, learned Ayurveda, learned yoga, went to different ashrams, regrouped myself, took a couple of years kind of break, and re-established my whole life, got my health back in action, wrote a book called Wall Street Yoga, lost 50 pounds, felt great, lost all those pills, and from 14 pills to literally 0. One once in a while, which I'd still take for migraine. That is when I opened up a yoga studio, and that's when I got into essential oils business and later into oral care once my non-compete was up. But I started oil pulling was the first product in my company because I'd learned about oil pulling in yoga days, and over the years, I kept improving it. Now, let's talk about my family background. My great-grandfather was a big Ayurvedic Vedya. Vedya is like a doctor. He had queues at 4 o'clock in the morning, people wanting to see him for like miles, they say. I don't know. Then there was partition in India where India became divided into two parts, Pakistan and India. And my family was Hindu, so they moved towards Delhi. It was like a rollover for a couple of generations where people were trying to find themselves. I came to America, I established my company, as you know, and then I reestablished it once again. And TikTok has made me find myself, refine me myself like as if I'm a 17-year-old. I literally feel I'm 17. So I've never felt this good. I think success makes you, all your ailments go away. I've never felt this good ever before.
I believe there's studies to show that if you work longer into your life, you end up living longer. Okay, so I mean, you mentioned the proposed TikTok ban when you were just starting to hear about TikTok. I guess, what are your thoughts on legislation that's going through now?
I'm not worried at all. That time, I did not know much, but now I know quite a bit. And I also have 100% belief in American democracy. If they would ban TikTok in entirety, that's not going to happen in America, I think, unless there were war conditions or something like that. Unless that is the case, I don't think it would get banned. Number one. Number two, also the reason I think so is because this would also set a very bad precedent. Let's say they ban TikTok, tomorrow they could ban my company saying that you're an immigrant, although you're a first generation immigrant, like I'm American, but first generation immigrants are not allowed to have companies. Like they could come up with anything, right? The government would, and especially when America DNA is democracy, I don't think this is going to happen.
I agree.
So I think what worse could happen is that they would have to sell the stock from a Chinese holding to a person with US passport. Let's say if somebody is a US passport holder, even though he's Chinese, he's like American, then all of a sudden, if he shows the money and takes it over, that could happen. That I agree. But I don't think more than that could happen, is my belief. I may be wrong, but I'm not a politician. But, that is my thought. The world looks up to America for democracy. So how to kill their moral? I don't think. There's some people who will always say, ban this, ban that. It doesn't mean anything, I believe.
I agree. And so have you taken any kind of steps to protect yourself in case that does happen, or you're just not even really thinking about it?
I did not do it for money. I have all my eggs in one basket. Would it hurt the business if this really happened? Yes, it would. Am I worried about it? No. Why? Because I tried to, everybody in my company says, you should look into Facebook, you should look into Instagram, you should look into YouTube. I tried doing it and it's so boring. So I said, what the hell? I'm here in this life enjoying what I'm doing. I'm loving what I'm doing. Why do I need to do something that I don't love?
I mean, I guess going off of that, one of my questions was kind of, what is your motivation for doing everything, whether it's profit or...
I got lucky. I'm an American dream story. I got lucky with my first company. 2 reasons I'm doing it. I wanted to bridge the gap. If you look at my TikTok page, it says bridge the gap. So I wanted to bring high quality products to people who can't afford it. I feel the disparity in income is believably high in America for any society to prosper. Like when I came to America versus when I was in India, the biggest difference was in India, the owner of a factory would never eat in the same restaurant as worker in the factory. There's a huge difference. There's a big gap. Like there was all the money. I was lucky to be the owner of the factory, but then I also felt that most of them are not that lucky, which was not a good feeling at the end of the day, because I had a lot of friends who did not have that amazing luck. But then when I came to America, I owned a company, and then I go to a McDonald's. I'm sitting there and the worker in my factory is eating the same McDonald's chicken nuggets, and he's driving a Toyota. Maybe I'm driving a Mercedes, but at least he's got a car. Versus when I saw that, I said, I love America, because everybody has equal means. You may be driving a different car, but you're still driving a car. I said, this is how a good society is built. But then I saw that this changing over the last 25 years to a degree where I saw the wealth getting accumulated. I'm not a communist by any means, so don't get me wrong, but I also don't want the difference to be so huge where people in the bottom of the ladder don't have anything. Okay, I'm absolutely not a communist. I'm 100% a capitalist, but I still believe in sharing is caring, and I still believe that good things belong to all and they should be able to afford it. So I created a company to bridge the gap so that I could use the knowledge that I've gained over this amazing run in my early 14, 15 years in US, building brands for other companies. So I used to private label for a lot of companies, for major brands, for major brick and mortar stores. You go and see a private label of, let's say if you're going to a drugstore, you say the name of the drugstore or you see the name of a mass retailer, big mass retailers? I was making them. I said, instead of making them so cheap for them, like let's say I made a 19 cents toothbrush, a high quality toothbrush, and sold it to a major retailer for 19 cents, and then they would sell it for $2.19. I said, why don't I take that 19-cent toothbrush and give it directly to the consumer so that he can actually enjoy the benefit? The person, I'm not bothered about the person who can afford that $2.19. I want to bring it to the people who can't afford it. So that was one of the major ideas of doing it. Then once TikTok came into play, it was like, I'm loving it. I don't want anything else. So.
It must be fun to kind of have the community aspect of it too, be able to talk to people.
Oh my God. Are you kidding me? I was going to India. I wrote on TikTok, going to India, catching a plane. And I got like, before I sat down and took off, I had 300 messages saying, safe flight, best wishes, love you. Means, how do you get that community?
That's the benefit of social media. I think, there's downsides, but the amount of people that you can reach in just a positive way is pretty incredible.
Are there trolls? Oh, 100%. Initially, I used to get really bogged down because I write real nasty comments. Somebody would write, hey, I just saw you working at my local 7-Eleven. People would make nasty comments. Initially, I would really be ready to really break up. But, I learned a lesson. Like how in your mouth, there is 98% good bacteria. There's 2% bad bacteria that cause cavities. What do I preach every day? I preach every day, oil pull, so that you can pull those 2% and spit them out. And that's what I do. I block them. Period. End of story. There's always going to be bad actors. You just block them.
I love that. And then I guess in terms of numbers that you've done on TikTok.
We're number one entire TikTok.
Yeah.
So we're number one on TikTok. We're number one oral care product on entire Amazon. And we're number one in oral care in entire Walmart. These are all numbers you can look up on AC Nelson. You can look up on Amazon publicly, and you can look it up on TikTok. These are all public. I can't give you the exact number, but you can guess.
I can see publicly on TikTok that main product has done 1.5 million sales. And I'm not sure, has that been for a while, or have there been previous iterations to that?
No, this is just one of the SKUs of the many SKUs that we have, and this has done 1.5 million in 5 months, give or take.
That's very impressive. Yeah, and then I guess lastly, because I don't want to take too much of your time here, I guess just in terms of general advice for young entrepreneurs that want to get started.
3 things. Number 1, make a product that does not exist. Oil pulling was not existing in America when I launched it. Make a product that does not exist. Start with that. Believe in that product. If you don't believe in it and if you don't use it, don't bring it out. Number 2, always love what you do. Number 3, always do good. If you're doing good, good things will happen to you. So these 3 are my advisors. I used to go and teach at USC Marshall Business School, entrepreneurship, because I was Entrepreneur of the Year award winner from Ernst & Young in 2011. I hold them this over and over, and I still tell anybody young that I meet, these are the principles that I go by, and these are the principles you should go by. You will find success.
What amazing insights. Thank you to Mr. Nanda for sharing some of his wisdom with us. Thank you for watching, and let me know in the comments who you'd like me to interview next.